One of the major stories that is going completely unrecognized by the media is the ongoing ordeal of Julian Assange. Essentially, he's still in Belmarsh prison facing extradition to the United States, where he would most likely face torture. Well, he would face torture and possibly execution at the hands of the U.S. government, because in 2007 he released a series, the collateral murder video, which showed the illegal conduct of the United States murdering journalists in the Middle East, and this connected to Chelsea Manning, etc. Now, Craig Murray is a former British ambassador to Uzbekistan, and he has been a longtime friend of Julian Assange. Like, they were actually close friends. Now, he's been very specific in his reporting. He's been heavily covering the situation going on with Julian Assange and his extradition hearings. And he alleges that the information he's been putting out, the journalism that he has been doing, has been suppressed by Facebook. And I, for one, I believe him. He said, "To be plain, that is very much less than my normal daily traffic from them just in ordinary times. It is the insidious nature of this censorship that is especially sinister. People believe they have successfully shared my articles on Twitter and Facebook, while those corporations hide them, that in fact it went to nobody's timeline." Now, the case of Julian Assange is a major incident. This is a major news item, yet the mainstream media balks at ever covering this. I mean, you're talking about a whistleblower who revealed the murder of innocent people by the United States military. And the guy who tried to get it out, we did get it out to the world, is being criminalized. But somehow this major thing isn't even being covered? The mainstream media is looking the other way, whether that be conservative media or liberal media, because they both serve the interests of the U.S. empire and its related capital. Now, the New York Times, who has previously worked with WikiLeaks in exposing many things from documents that have come out, have not mentioned Julian Assange in about 2 weeks. And CNN, which is the major news, television news broadcaster, has not touched the situation at all. Not even not one story on it. And that is very telling. Now, we already know, those of us on YouTube and other social media, even very small people like myself, are already aware that there is a great deal of censorship going on. YouTube regularly cuts advertising on videos that talk about the Syrian civil war, or even something as should be very plain and straightforward, such as fracking. So, I mean, this is even on things that are very small, like fracking itself. It should be very obvious fracking is bad, etc. But the censorship on social media directed by the U.S. State Department is ever increasing. Now, earlier this year, Facebook announced that it would remove all comments or posts relating to praise of the recently assassinated Iranian general Qasem Soleimani from his platform. So if you just said something positive about him, like the fact that he has been instrumental in the entire campaign against ISIS, is going too far, and that needs to be removed. And I can't tell you how many people I know on Facebook who have had stuff removed for merely saying R.I.P., for showing any respect for the guy whatsoever, because it happened to me as well. Just merely paying respects. I didn't even say anything about the U.S. empire or the fact that the U.S. has a very large hand in the creation of ISIS, etc. Just simply saying rest in peace is going too far. But one of the biggest hotspots for controversial activity is the Middle East, and has been for a very long time. Now, this is particularly contentious for social media, particularly with regards to many of the proxy wars carried out by the United States, Britain, and the connections between Israel and Saudi Arabia against the anti-imperialist forces. Yet, when the news broke that the British Army's online psychological operations brigade had managed to become a senior Twitter executive responsible for Middle Eastern content, the media ignored it. So you're telling me, literally, A standing military officer inside the UK military, whose job it is for psychological operations, got into being an executive at Twitter, a social media civilian company responsible for Middle Eastern conflict, and the media didn't report it. I think that's rather deliberate. I think that was something that perhaps the UK government specifically went to social media and said, please don't cover this because we're trying to twist the narrative here. And isn't it strange how this also coincides with the removal of a lot of Iranian-backed and sometimes just were Twitter accounts by Iranian people denouncing U.S. actions in the country? Of course, if you have Iranian people creating Twitter accounts denouncing the Iranian government and making all kinds of fanciful claims that have nothing to back them up, they're allowed to stay. But if you say, no, I live in Iran, please don't bomb us, we don't want to die, that gets taken down by Twitter. And I'm sure this guy becoming the executive for Middle East content when this happens is a pure coincidence, of course. But this does show that as resistance to many of the wrongdoings of both the Democrat and the Republican Party, and the U.S. empire in general, and its junior partners, the UK, Canada, Australia, etc., continue to grow, social media, controlled by its puppet masters, if you want to use the term, in the U.S. State Department, is going to get worse. And the more you resist, the more you're going to be censored. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.